Now, you and me both know that Pokemon decks, well, they can get quite expensive. So here today, I am bringing you a budget Klefki control deck list coming out in Scarlet and Violet. So for the Pokemon, you have 4 Klefki. That's it. No other Pokemon. And here's what Klefki does. It has the ability Prank Lock. As long as it's in the active spot, each player's basic Pokemon in play have no abilities except for Prank Lock. This means that you shut off all basic abilities and you're always going to start Klefki, so you're always going to be able to shut off your opponent's abilities. And this may remind you of a deck that was just recently in the meta, that being Galarian Weezing, with the ability Neutralizing Gas, shutting off all abilities except for Neutralizing Gas. This made it so viable because you could shut down Lugia and other decks, but I feel that Klefki is going to be better for a few reasons. First of all, I feel that it does good against Electric and Mew, which are the archetypes that are going to be heavily dominant in the new meta, because it shuts off Miraidon EX with its ability Tandem Unit, stopping Electric from setting up their bench, and it stops Mew from drawing a bunch of cards and getting set up with Fusion Strike system, completely shutting them out of the game. Now, here's the draw support trainers you have. You have 4 Level Ball, you have 4 Trekking Shoes, 4 Pokegear 3.0, which has been updated to Regulation G, 4 Colorless Experiment, 2 Roxanne, and 2 Arven and 1 Energy Search. Now, the reason you're running Colorless Experiment and Arven is because with this deck, you want to get a big hand. You want to accumulate a lot of cards so you can choose whatever option you need for the moment. You don't want to keep discarding your hand. You want to build a hand that you can use throughout the game because it is inevitably going to be a longer game. Now, Arven is a new supporter coming out that lets you get a tool and an item, and now that tools are no longer item cards, they're a lot harder to search, so I feel that Arven is a good inclusion. We're also getting some utility trainers in the deck list. First of all, you have 2 Miriam, 3 Defiant Band, 2 Choice Belt, 4 Old Cemetery, and 4 Boss's Orders. Now, let me talk about Miriam first, because I feel that it's a great card. I talked about this in a different video about how good it is and how it's the best replacement for Ordinary Rod. Click the card above to see more on that. But I feel that Miriam is a great fit in this deck list for 2 reasons. First of all, you want to get your Klefkis back into the deck, because you don't want them to take 4 KOs and then you're out of the game. You want those Pokemon back in the deck so you can replay them and be able to make your opponent take all 6 prizes to knock you out of the game. Defiant Band is another great card in this deck. Defiant Band is good because this deck needs to hit damage and isn't hitting that poison. So Defiant Band is great because other than Choice Band, which can't hit EXs, Defiant Band is a great way to get that extra 30 damage on those EX Pokemon so that you have giving your opponent less time to finish out the game or getting out to your stuff. I feel that Old Cemetery is another worthy inclusion because every time they play a energy, then you're putting 2 damage counters on them and accelerating their death. Here's some control trainers I'm putting in the list. You got 4 Crushing Hammer, 4 Team Stargrunt, 3 Flannery, and 3 Phantom Waves. Now, in my most recent video that I talked about in the card before, I talked about how much I love Team Stargrunt. Now, it may just seem like a worse Team Flare Grunt, but it's good because then you are stopping them from getting the out by putting it on top of their deck so they have to draw it, which is an amazing card for the deck. Also, 4 Crushing Hammer, getting rid of those basics energies, 3 Flannery, 3 Phantom Waves, all good energy removal cards. And speaking of energy, we are running 7 energy. We're running 3 Gift Energy and 2 Lucky Energy and 2 Psychic Energy. The reason we're running 2 Psychic Energy is so that with Arven, we can turn it into an energy with Energy Search, getting us that Psychic Energy. Also, I believe you may be asking yourselves, why are you running 3 Gift Energy and not 4? Well, like I said earlier on in the video, our goal is to build a big hand with the deck and be able to have a lot of solutions and a lot of outs. Gift Energy later on in the game doesn't work as well because you're going to be at 7+ hands. So Lucky Energy is another great fit for the deck, letting you draw that card. Here's how you can beat me with this deck. So, as we all know, you have Genesect, Mew, and Meloetta. You see, there's a few tricky things with this matchup. First of all, you have Mew with its free retreat, meaning that they'll just keep rotating their Mews out and just trying to prevent you from getting that KO. So you need to save your bosses on Mews until you can kill them. And then Genesects, you want to take those out and usually take them out for game. And one thing that is tricky in the matchup that they may try to do is place a Meloetta to throw off your prize trade if you haven't knocked out a VMAX. And just be cautious and wary of that. But with the amount of special energy removal you have, this should be a piece of cake. As well as making them not set up with Klefki straight away, which is why I believe this matchup is going to be better than the Galarian Weezing Mew matchup, because you're able to lock them straight out of the gate. And here's how to be electric. So, electric Pokemon actually have pretty high attack costs and need to get those energies out, so they're not the problem. The card you should kill on sight is Mareep, because Mareep evolves into Flaffy. Flaffy has Dynamotor, letting them accelerate those energies back every turn, and you won't be able to keep pace. So as soon as you see a Flaffy, you just need to hit that thing and try to get it off the bench. And the tricky thing about it is you're only hitting for 40 at best, so they need to not get the Flaffy out. And it's tricky, and it just requires a lot of disruption. The sad thing is you beat those two, but you lose to everything else. Gardevoir and Banette are auto losses. Let me explain each. Gardevoir is bad news because you can't lock its ability away because it's an evolved Pokemon. And what it does is it just accelerates from discard pile as much as you like. There's no way you can keep up that pace, and you just have to kill Ralts, and the matchup is practically unwinnable. You'll also lose to Banette because it is a low energy cost attacker hitting for 30. And they run control cards, and you being item locked is severely going to slow down your game plan, and you're not slowing them down with your ability that much. So that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And unban Sableye now. Please, Pokemon. Unban Sableye. Unban my boy. Free my boy. Thank you.